नमः सर्वेभ्यः। हरि ओम्। अद्वैतचिन्तनवर्गे सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः परमऋषिभ्यो नमः परमऋषिभ्यः। शोभा भगिनी, शान्तिमन्त्रम्।
आं महोदय। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
धन्यवादः भगिनी।
धन्यवादः।
Last week, last class, we didn't have enough time to take the question and answer session, and most of you said you have questions which you want to do it in the beginning of this class. That will be better, because then we will be completing last week's class, and then we can move forward to the entering the text this week. So Chandu Mahodaya, you wanted to ask some question on this thing. So first let us see what Chandu Mahodaya got.
It's about what we hear about Advaita philosophy. Because I'm not into it, and I just Advaita philosophy and other philosophy just as a term. So what is that Advaita philosophy is basically? That is what if you can give a little gist about Advaita philosophy that we are trying to learn.
Okay. Basically, Advaita philosophy is part of the Prasthanatrayi, that is Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad and Brahma Sutra only. There are three predominant sections who follow different paths, but ultimately all of them have the same three text canons of Prasthanatrayi as their what you call pramana, based on which they depend upon. But the difference between them is that it is the quality of the aspirant which makes the difference. Like how we have in our normal life, there are people who are going towards science studies, commerce studies, art studies, then some going into music, some going to music, within music itself, instrumentals. It is all because of what you call a trait, or what we call in the Prasthanatrayi background is called vasana, or subconscious interest hidden in the people. Now that has made three different approaches to mukti, moksham. Moksha margam is what is for ultimately what these Prasthanatrayi is guiding individuals to attain. Now the three are Advaita, Vishishtadvaita and Dvaita. Now in the Dvaita, which was very predominant before the onset of Shankara, and later after the Madhvacharya's explanatory notes came on the Prasthanatrayi also, it again picked up. Basically what they have this thing is that Ishvara is the all-powerful and we are all jivas. Now jiva and Ishvara can never be the same, is what the Dvaita. So there are two entities like jiva and Ishvara, and jiva is the Srishtikarta, Ishvara is the Srishtikarta, and jiva, which includes the Jagat. Jiva is not standing apart from the Jagat, it's part of the Jagat. So Jagat and Ishvara are the two principles. The Jiva is part of the Jagat. Now, as per their belief, there are 9 stages of moksha, Sayujya, Salukya, Samipya, like that. They are saying that 7 or 9, main this thing, that itself is moksha as per them. Because in this philosophy, they cannot be merging together or anything. In the Vishishta Advaita is part of, actually, it is Ramanujacharya, who was a Advaita follower, and he was studying Advaita under a Advaitic master. When he heard that the Ishvara Jagat, Jiva Jagat are nothing but the same in these 3 different appearances, he could not take, because of his ardent love for Vishnu. So he cried in the class and said that you are talking nonsense and I am not interested in it, and he walked out and he started his own this thing, that even though the Ishvara and the Jiva Jagat are same, but in Mukti is not the Ishvara becoming the Jiva. I mean, Ishvara, Jiva and Ishvara becoming one, Aikyatvam. So that Ishvara is Sarva Kalyana Gunaniti and Jiva can never be Sarva Kalyana Gunaniti. So for that reason, he differentiated Advaita slightly, keeping the separatedness between Ishvara and the rest of it, but not totally like the Dvaita, where they say that the Ishvara is totally different and Jiva Jagat is a totally different thing. They can never be commonness between them. Whereas in Vishishta Advaita, they say that even though commonness is there, but the Jiva Ishvara cannot be cannot combine to become one. Now in the Advaita, which was even prevalent even before Adi Shankara, but not logically and with the pramana of the Veda and Upanishad established, because of which Buddha and Jaina philosophies were very prominent in India at that time, and people started denouncing Vedic karmas and Vedas and Upanishads and all totally. But Shankara had established back the Vedic belief, especially in the Upanishad based Brahma Sutra and the Upanishad. And Gita is a Smriti which has a lot of quotations from the Upanishad, so he has depended upon the Bhagavad Gita also. Now the Advaita philosophy, what is unique about it is that it is saying that there is only one. Advaitam means Nadvaitam. So there is nothing other than that one, which itself is appearing as many, is what Advaita tells it. And the experience of manyness is due to avidya. Avidya, Ajnanam or Maya. These are the 3 terms used for the same experiential cause for the experiences. When you don't know the truth behind the appearances, then for you the appearances will become real, like the sky appearing blue or the mirage having water. The moment you know that mirage has no waterness in it, but it is a reflection of the light in the air which is appearing as water, until you know that science behind it or that somebody tells you what it is, the wateriness is real. Same way, in our experiences, there is a process which Shankara is using in Chandogya Upanishad, Brihadaranya Upanishad and Mandukya, all called the the Avastatraya Nirupanam. Avastatraya Nirupanam is the 3 avasthas of humanity, or any experiencer for that matter. That is, we have waking, dream and deep sleep as our three states of experiences, three avasthas. That is threadbarely analyzed to give the science and a personal experience of the Advaitatvam, or the uniqueness or the oneness for the cause and the appearances. Now this is unique to Advaita, whereas other two philosophies of Dvaita and the Vishishtadvaita do not treat Swapna, Jagrat and Sushupti as as an examples to analyze our experiences. Advaita has this uniqueness, saying that there is a commonness. The experiencer per se doesn't change in all the three states, which means that the experiencer is different from the experienced. The famous quotation from Shvetashvatara Upanishad is Trishu Damasu Yad Bhogyam Bhokta Bhogascha Yad Bhaved Tebhyo Vilakshana Sakshi Chinmatroham Sadashivam. Trishu Damasu. Dhamam means abode or avastha. Trishu Damasu. In that, Bhokta Bhogyam Bhogam Kya Bhogyamscha. That is the object, subject and the act of experiencing. This is the Triputi. Trishu Damasu Yad. In each of the Dhamas, you have the three states. That is the object, the subject and the experience. These three experiences, in all the three, it is changing. But Tebhyo Vilakshana Sakshi, among that all, even though while in all the three states these are changing, there is a Sakshi which is observing the changes. The one who is observing that in the waking is the same as the one who is observing the dream, and is the same one who is sleeping also, where he is not experiencing anything, but he experiences that aham asmi, I am there. That experience is there. Objects are not there, subject is there, experience is there, but in the absence of an object, the experiencer cannot say that there is an experience of deep sleep. Only when he wakes up, he says that I had a good sleep. Sati Sampatya na viduhu, the Sati Sampadyamahe is the Chandogya word. Even though it has become one with the truth in the deep sleep, that it doesn't know that it has become the truth. Or the Atma Swarupa there. So that Tebhyo Vilakshana Sakshi, Chit Matroham. The Chit is the awareness. It is the awareness which was common in all the three states. And Aham Sadashivam, always pure. Shivam here is Mangalam or pure, which you can take the meaning as. It is that experiencer is not getting affected by what is being experienced in the three states. And it remains as uninflicted, contained or stained by the experiences. So Tebhyo Vilakshana Sakshi Chinmatroham Sadashivam. This is what the Advaita philosophy is all about. I hope you understood what is the. It's in a brief. I have said that.
No, I think much better.
Huh?
Much better than the previous, almost knowing nothing.
Okay.
See,
in this particular text, it is very detailed. Actually speaking, this one book, Aparokshanubhuti, has the uniqueness among all the Prakarana Granthas like Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, Viveka Chudamani and all those things, is that this is almost like going through Brahma Sutra in a very concise format. Only thing is that it is not using the technical jargons as much as in the Brahma Sutra, but the methodology in which negating the opponents, establishing the Advaita Tattvam, and then taking the student the process of how to do the introspection, what is the methodology, how will you do that, and what is the Aparoksha Anubhuti for you is explained in this text. So as we go through this text, most of your questions will get answered.
Thank you, sir.
Vamshi Bhagini? Your question?
Mahoday, I do have, but I would like to go to the text because without knowing, I would not like to ask for a question. I feel so. I mean, there are questions.
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
saying they are, but
you should ask the questions. You should ask the questions. Why I am saying is that
yes,
with a doubt in your mind, if you proceed it, that the doubt will be predominant and that will drag you to a different direction.
Oh, is it so? No, my basic question is, why did he say Advaita? Why could he not have said Ekatvam? It's like, it's not two, Advaita. It's like said not two, but it's
right.
That is one question. And in Trasthanatrayam we have Brahma Sutras, Upanishad, and Gita.
Yes.
Gita is like put at the last of Trasthanatrayam. Why is Gita put at the last? Because that is a way of life. We need to do that. In fact, Upanishads are more advanced than Gita, I feel so. But it has a Sara of Upanishads, I know that. But we approach the Gita first and then we do the Upanishads. Why is it done like that?
Okay. Balanam Sugabodaya. That is the answer for it. That is, as a kindergarten students, we have to study the alphabets. We have to know A is not apple, but even though then we say A for apple. It is that way the mind gets developed in the thought process as to how we have to proceed in stages of understanding the ultimate which is given in the Upanishad. Straight away, if we go to the Upanishad, what happens is a lot of technical Paribhashik Shabdam which are available in the Upanishad will not be understood unless you have got a basic exposure like this Aparokshanubhuti, Tattvabodha, Atmabodha, Viveka, Chudamani, Bhagavad Gita. Then you have to enter into Upanishad. Why not even Brahma Sutra? Because Brahma Sutra is a what you call debate between a Purva means opponent, who believes in either Karmakanda or Bauddha or Tattva, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, even Charvaga. They are objecting to the statements of Upanishad which is explained by in the Upanishad for saying that in our philosophy it is like that. You are saying that the meaning of the Upanishad's word is like this. So Shankara, and of course the sutra is by Vyasa, Badarayana, but Shankara gives the commentary to explain, and there is a lot of grammar in it, in the what you call Brahma Sutra.
Brahma Sutra.
So yeah, Brahma Sutra, unless you know the grammar, you cannot really enter into Brahma Sutra.
Yes.
Because but in Gita is more common man's language.
Yes.
It is a dialogue between a warrior and a friend who is a philosopher, guide, and everything. And he is a master himself who knows the Upanishad as what he says in the Gita is Manuna Proktam. He is the one who told from the first person onwards all the Upanishads and everything. So when he is quoting from the Upanishad, even though it's a pictorial story form, he is quoting the crux of the Upanishads to explain the methodologies of karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti. And then at the end he says, Yadechasi tata kuru. Whatever you think is best for you, do that. Krishna could have said, no, Jnana Yoga is the best. You should do only Jnana Yoga. Go become a sannyasi. No. There the need was for yuddha. But at the same time, the yuddha without knowing the truth behind the what is life and death and the whole thing, you will be fighting a war with like a blindfolded man, because whatever comes in front of you, you will be doing it. Dharmam, adharmam, all those things you won't know. So to ward off that, he gave all the methods, and of course Arjuna is only a nimittam. It is meant for the whole humanity. Samasta Manava Jati is in his mind when he said that, and that is why, even though after maybe so many years that text has been written, even today it has got validity, because the variety of human beings in the world are because of vasana. Vasana is basically a impression in your mind when you are born, and tendency towards either bhakti or yoga or jnana marga or karma kanda. Some people cannot just even take bhakti also, but they will be good at their karma. They won't be doing any adharma, but they won't believe. They may be called astikas or non-believers, atheists and all, but they will be very good people, because what they know, the karma is so much that it is not necessary that I should devote it to God or anything like that, but their mental makeup is purer. They don't have much of selfishness. They would like to help others. That is the karma kandins will do. Karma kanda, but it is not the karma of the Vedas what we are talking about in the Bhagavad Gita, where yajna, yaga, tapas, all those things. Then comes the bhakti yoga. Karma sannyasi is the next level in the Bhagavad Gita, where you have to even abandon that type of karmas to concentrate from the world outside to antarmukhata, to know yourself, which Ramana Maharshi says, find out who am I, or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, and Vivekananda, all those masters say that find out who you are, know your truth. You are engaging yourself in the world outside without knowing who you are and what you are. Unless you know who you are, your interaction with the world outside, even though you think it is perfect, cannot be perfect, because what guides you to do the work will not be under your control unless you know it. So that is what the karma sannyasam comes. Then comes the yoga, how to do the meditation and control the mind. If you don't know how to know the mind, then how to do the control. Then comes the bhakti yoga. You have to direct that mind to something so higher. That is the bhakti yoga. And the jnana yoga has been already told in this thing, but the repetition comes kshetra kshetratnyo jnanam. And toward the end of the 18th chapter, he summarizes most of the things. That is Bhagavad Gita. Now, why did Shankara, or not Shankara, the Sampradayic Acharyas, Sampradaya means tradition. Why did the traditional people name it as Advaita is that when the moment you say Ekam, then the second immediate thought which comes in the mind is second. Okay. One can exist only if there is a second will be there in comparison. Okay.
Yes, very true.
So, but even one is not there, then what will you say?
So yeah, got that.
Right?
Yes. That's
but human mind needs something to anchor upon. So in a prasidya prasishedam, that is the negative way of samasa, naitatpurusha samasa, advaitam is used.
Right. Okay, and just another question, I would not take much of your time. Paroksha, aparoksha. Paroksha itself tells that paroksha is itself, you are not in front of it. Aparoksha means, is it how does it validate that statement?
Okay, this I will tell when I am opening the text, because the first word which I am going to explain is Aparokshanubhuti.
Okay.
So there I have got two words to explain. What is Aparoksha? What is Anubhuti? Then we will enter the first sloka of the Vandana sloka. That time that I will explain that word Aparoksha.
Dhanyavada Mahodaya.
Anything else?
No, I'll get to it once I start. Once we start off the text, I think probably there'll be more questions which come up. Okay?
No, please. Okay.
Yes.
Dhanyavada Bhagini. Chandini Bhagini, any question?
I'm okay so far. Thank you, Mahodaya.
Astu, dhanyavadaha. Abhishek Mahodaya?
No questions for now, Mahodaya.
Okay. So, dhanyavada. So we will enter this text called Aparoksha Anubhuti. It has got two words explaining an experience. Now, Anubhuti is in literal meaning is experience. Now, if we look at our normal life itself, everything is an experience. From the time our mind starts operating when we wake up in the day till it goes to the deep sleep, including dream, is an experience. But as per Advaita, even deep sleep is an experience. That's why when we wake up, we say, I had a good sleep. Okay, so everything is related or in terms of anubhuti. So life itself is an anubhuti. Now, anubhuti is when we say experience. Experience to us, we differentiate from the causes which cause the experiences. From the objects which causes those experiences, we differentiate like, the experience of heat, experience of cold, experience of sweetness, bitterness, experience of music, experience of reading, experience of all different experiences we differentiate in our life due to the cause from which we think is the causation to give the experience. We name it as experience of an object. But is there any difference which you can make if you remove the object? The experience per se of listening to a music or knowing through a book, the knowledge which you acquire through, one is music, one is reading a book, or one is having sweet, or one is or experience of life, dream or waking or whatever may be that. If you keep away the object or the conditions of the object, there is something which is called internal to us, by which we can say there is a knowledge arising within me caused by a trigger called music or reading or whatever may be the reasons. Now, these experiences cannot or do not have a differentiation between one to another once the object is taken away from that. It remains as in the form of a knowledge. The experience of sweetness is the knowledge what sweetness is. The experience of music is the knowledge of what music is. The experience of reading is the knowledge of the subject read through the book. Everything that when it comes to, it all comes to one thing which is a common factor, which is called jnanam or knowledge. Now, the knowledge in our daily parlance, we don't give what you call the required weightage to it, because we are so used to our indriyas, which I told you as per my first introductory class, because our sense organs are driven outward for the objects to be observed. But what happens once the observation takes place through the object sense organ, the knowledge arising within it is not taken into weightage by us on our day-to-day experience. That is why what happens is that we get driven by the differentiation or the effect of the object on us. We become happy, sorrowful, anger. All the triggers which we take is that we don't acknowledge the quality, condition and the effect of the knowledge which is taking place within us. At the mind level, there is variations. That is why which is triggered by the, because manas shashtan indriyana. Manas is supposed to be the sixth organ of which controls Atmanam Radinam Vidhi, Shariram Ratamevacha, Buddhim tu Saratim Vidhi, Manapragrahamevacha. In that sloka in Bhagavad Gita says the mind, Manashashtan Indriyana. The sixth sense organ is the mind. Up to the mind level, it is a sense organ. Only thing is that the mind has the what you call mixing capacity of separate inputs coming from the eyes and the ears and the taste and the touch and the smell. But nose cannot but smell, eyes cannot but see, ears cannot but hear, like that. So the limitation of the sense organ is there for the organs at the exterior level. At the interior level, the mind makes a mix and match of those sensory inputs from the sense organs to arrive at a output which the buddhi takes it. Buddhi is the intellect. Now the buddhi takes that input from output of mind to the buddhi, and buddhi can instruct back either to the mind or the muscles to react. Now buddhi, between the buddhi and mind, it is both are under the same thing. That is why that is divided into four: mano, buddhi, ahankara, chittam. In the four formats it is divided is because of that four functions of the same organ which is internal to us. So when the mind gives the output of the mixed input from the individual sense organs to the buddhi will see with the color which the mind has given, because buddhi is pure. Intellect is by way of the intellect, it is very pure in nature. It cannot color good, bad, ugly or anything like that, but it has only logic. The logic is that it can think logically and dissect the input which the mind is giving, so that for that the buddhi has to be trained. But before that, mind has very naughty behavior. It is always chanchala. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. That is the word Arjuna uses in the Bhagavad Gita. No? It is always, and the very nature of mind is, it is always in a pulsating mode. Why it is in pulsating mode? Because it is always triggered with the contact with the objects. It can be external contacts or internal objects. External objects like what is given through the Panchendriyas, or the internal objects which are in the thought process of the mind, like from the memory or from the dream, or these are all stored inside itself, in the mind itself, as storages. From there also it can take. That is what happens in the case of a dream. It doesn't need external organs to function. The mind can pick up objects it has stored in its memory and create a world for us. So that mind is always in pulse, and the moment it is not pulsating, it is called sushupti. That time the mind is no mind. And when the mind is not feeding anything to buddhi doesn't know whether it is sensing anything or not, mind is sensing or not, because it has got only one side direction. But the buddhi can turn inward also, not the mind. But in the grosser terms, sometimes manas, we will say, turn the mind inwards. It is not that the mind is, there are the four functions of the mind: mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. Only the mind, when it is turned inward, it is called the chitta. The buddhi turns inward is called the chitta. When buddhi is turned outward, it becomes one with the mind. So it will dance according to what the mind says. But when it is turned inward toward the chitta side, it is the place where logic guides it. It doesn't dance with the mind, because it is looking inward and getting direction from that. So if you look at that, the anubhuti, what we call, is from the sense organs outside to the mind creating its own experiences, feeding to the intellect. But there is a third anubhuti when the mind turns inward toward the chitta, or the source of the energy, or the prana, or what you call the jivatvam, the thing. That is also anubhuti, experience. Now, when that experience takes place, it is called aparoksha. One is pratyaksha, which is in front of by the 5 sense organs. It is called pratyaksha, akshanam pratyakshara. That means direct observation. Now, paroksha is akshanam param. It is beyond the realm up to which the indriyas can go. That is, eyes can see a longer distance. It can see the sun. It can see the stars. But sound has limitations. So with the ears, you can listen only a thunder coming from a certain distance. But you can't hear the noise which is coming from the cosmos or the stars or the other satellite operating on the outer sky or anything. Because that is the limitation of the ears. Now when it comes to skin, it can sense only what touches it. It can be either external touches by the skin, which is external to the body, or like heat and cold, which is felt when you take a hot coffee or a ice cream inside. That is also touch organ only inside. That is internal to the body. Then the least sensory organ is left on the 1.5 square inch tongue tip, which is for the second least, is the smell of a taste. You can taste only by that front, the corner of the tongue and the tip of the tongue. If a sweet is kept in the middle of the tongue, unless its liquid flows into the corner of the tongue, you cannot have the taste of the sweet. It is kept on the center of the tongue. So that is the limitation of the tasting bud of the what you call sensory, or our olfactory function, or the smell of this thing, not smell, taste bud. And the smallest of the organ is the smell. Now only something carried by an air which goes into the nose can trigger a sensory of smell, sensory input of smell. So what is outside on a flower, the smell is paroksha, even though visually you are able to see the flower. What is the taste of a mango on a tree or on a basket in front of a shopkeeper is still a paroksha, because the taste has not touched the tongue. But for the eyes, the mango which is in the shopkeeper or on the top of a tree is not paroksha, it is pratyaksha. It can see it. Like that, paroksha is what is not available for the sense organ. Everything is called paroksha. Now pratyaksha, paroksha is very clearly defined, but aparoksha is still an experience. When you say, I saw a mango, there are two experiences which you are by selling that term. Aham janami etat amramasti. Right? When you say that, you are telling two parts of it. One is the eyes is seeing the mango, but then there is an experience which you are saying is aham janami. Now this aham janami doesn't come under the realm of the senses. What you are seeing, you are telling that, but you know that what I saw is a mango. That knowing part is aparoksha, because it is not for the sense organ to directly perceive. The knowledge is not perceived by the sense organ nor by the mind, but the intellect, when it is turning inwards, it is conveying the knowledge from the observer or the sakshi, who acknowledge that I know it, that I am seeing a mango. So these three differences which you see is pratyaksha, paroksha, when the tongue cannot taste the sweetness of the mango, is paroksha, and the one who says that I know that I am seeing the mango, that knowing is also an experience. So aparoksha, paroksha and pratyaksha. This is what is called Aparokshanubhuti. Now Aparokshanubhuti can be only about the observer or the knower of anything. That is how that an individual should be known or understood, or what is that anubhavam we are not able to do in our day-to-day life. Do we any time on any of our activity or any moment of our day, do we acknowledge that I am the experiencer of my world of experience? No, we get experience and we continue with our experiences. This textbook gives the prescription of negating what is not and establishing what is. And what is the advantage of prayojanam anuddishya mandovina pravartade? Because unless it is giving some benefit, you don't have to follow it. Why should you follow a text like Aparokshanubhuti? The reason why we are learning this and everything is that there is a state when you know that observer is your true nature. You are no more under the clutches of your brain or the mind or the sense organs. Even though events happen outside, the mind may get perturbed, or even the buddhi may get tell you to become angry and all. You knowing this will be in a position to take control of your life. That is the grossest way of telling the benefit of it. There are much more philosophical definition for it, which we will come to know about it as we proceed to this thing. But at the gross level, this is a textbook which will give you perfect control on how to be unperturbed in a world of perturbances. Like, the example given in the Shastras is like that, how even in the high waves, a boat which has got a direction will never get waved off or waylaid or driven away to the different direction, because it has got a direction to move on. Now that direction is being given by this knowledge, Aparokshanubhuti, the text like this. And how will you live with that? Patmapatram ivambasa, like a lotus leaf, even though living and growing, giving out flowers in a muddy water, the leaves of the patram or the patram of the lotus is neither dirtied nor stained or not touched by the wateriness of the water in it. Same way, in our day-to-day life, the good, bad, the good news, the bad news, and triggers which can give out you the worst of you in it, all this can come as input from world outside. But in all these things, you will act, you will knowing yourself where to anchor your anubhava, you will be more anchored in life and you will be a sthita prajna. That is the benefit of it. What is the sthita prajna? One whose prajna means knowledge or the anubhuti is established in that which doesn't change. Now, if your mind is established in an outside object, as the object changes, your mind also will change. Like how the balastavat krida sakta, tarunastavat taruni sakta, vriddhastavat chinda sakta, parame brahmani kopina sakta. That Bhajagovindam's verse. So as the objects change, our mind will change. But if you are anchored with the aparoksha jnanam, then even though the world will throw you mud or throw you, call you names or trigger you or try to react badly, knowing where to anchor yourself, you will never getting. But even if you are getting an anger, you know it is a self-protection, atma rakshartam. You are doing it, but not for hurting anybody or destroying anything. So that is a controlled behavior of a sthita prajna. It is not that he is throwing away everything from life and going towards Himalayas or some cave and then not interacting with the world. Krishna was right in the middle of the war and driving Arjuna's Ratha, where all the arrows were hitting left and right. But he was still unperturbed by that when he knew that he had to tell that to Arjuna, that is the way in which you have to deal it. Each time, on each day, he gave direction to Arjuna. So that is the benefit of studying this or going through the Aparokshanubhuti. So I will take questions because after that we will enter the first sloka today. Any questions?
Mahoday, can you just brief on mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, the clear definition, because there's always a confusion between chittam, manas and buddhi and chittam. Like, how do we know manas is basically the mind, whatever you said. Buddhi is a discrimination factor which tells what is right and what is wrong. What is exactly chittam?
Okay. Now, it's a faculty, internal faculty available to all human beings. It is functionally, organ-wise it is one, but functionally it is divided into four. Mana, buddhi, ahankara, chittam. Now, let's start with the most known thing, that is manas. Mana is mind. Mind is a reactive element to the sensory inputs, but it is also a what you call mixing pot, where all the indriya inputs are assimilated together to give a total shape of experience. Like for example, when you hear a music concert, you hear the sound of the music, you hear the different music sounds or from the different instruments and the singer, then your mind gets that visual input from the different instruments and the sound from the ear through the ear, and then the mind assimilates all this put together and gives a color of its own because of the quality of the mind, whether it's a good music or bad music, and gives that its input to the buddhi. Now buddhi has a function to dissect that input from the mind to you are saying it is good, it is like the other one, or it is good or bad, because the mind is saying. So buddhi will immediately say that you are comparing this input with something which is in your memory, which is before. Mind cannot do that per se. Only buddhi can take results from the data bank of the memory, compare it with mind inputs at that moment, and then tell that you are comparing with your earlier memory and saying this is good or bad. That action of differentiating between the input presently coming from the mind with the memory there, or sometimes the buddhi will allow the mind to hand it over to the buddhi to keep it in the memory. Where to keep it in the memory is the job of the buddhi. That is why intellectually, he's got a high intellect because he knows everything, he memorizes, he has taken from memory. So memory is taken through the intellect and passed on to the mind to react. Now ahankara
and mana is just witness.
Mana is not a witness. Chitta is a witness. Okay, chittam is the witness. I'll come to chitta last. The buddhi stores it for the memory it can compare with the recent input from the mind, compare it with the buddhi's memory stock, and differentiate between. Suppose there is no memory of the earlier one, this one can be stored as memory by the intellect, and that is where. And the more the intellectual capacity to store memory, that person is supposed to be having more knowledge, because he is able to access the memory bank. Because every experience of ours in a day is 80% memory and 20% present input. Almost you can roughly say that, because everything you compare it with a thing available in your memory. Because if you are eating something sweet, immediately you will say it is more sweet. Okay, how do you say it is more sweet? Because there is something available as in your memory as something what is sweet. Now the earlier one which you had eaten had less sweet, and now today what you ate had more sweet. So you are able to compare between the memory of the earlier taste to the current taste. That aspect is done by the buddhi. So buddhi has the dissecting or the differentiating capacity, whereas the mind is a purely a reactive function. It receives the inputs from the sense organs. It being a sense organs, it can take from the memory what is given by the buddhi also to create a reaction. Now buddhi, when does the dissecting, has got an aspect which is called ahankara in it. That is the ego part of it. Now where is the ego? Ego is the impression born out of all the memories which you have acquired through the lifetime to form a personality. It is per se it is not a function, but it's a characteristic reactive element in the buddhi itself, based on which the personality behaviors are accessed by the body, by the mind, by the buddhi, and passed on to the mind to do the reaction. Now if something is hurting the aham or the ego, then the buddhi will pass on that information to the mind, saying this input is hurting the mind in the personality, so you have to react towards that. So then that person becomes angry. The anger as a reaction comes out from that person. It is in the mind which is thing. So these are all, I mean, I'm explaining it as if it's all different boxes, but it all happens in very fraction of a second. So it doesn't, from where does it act and everything, where it is stored in the physical condition of the body is nothing not known to me. I myself, because even biologists, I don't know whether they are psychologists also, whether they have found the difference. I am not sure about it. I have not studied that aspect, but functional aspect, this is it. Now the fourth and the last one, which we call in the category, is called the chitta. Chitta is the observer, and that is the one which gives the power for the ahankaram. That is the one gives the, it is like the, what you call the static energy, from which the ego can draw energy, the buddhi can draw energy, the mind can draw energy. But chitta per se is an observer only. It doesn't have reactions at all. So mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. Now when the buddhi is turned towards the chitta and not taking any sensory inputs from the mind or the ahankara, the buddhi is considered to be in a pure state. Because buddhi per se is like a crystal. Which direction it is turned, it takes the color of that. So if it is turned towards the mind, whatever the mind inputs take, the buddhi will accept that and behave like that. If it is from the ahankara side, buddhi will take the ahankara's instruction and pass it on to the muscles for giving a beating to a man who insulted you, or calling him names and all those things. But the moment when it is changed purely toward the chitta, the source of the energy, the observer, it has no inputs of experiences from the mind or the ahankara, and it is in a state of unison with the chitta. That is what happens in the case of deep sleep. In the deep sleep, even though the body is sensing the wind of the fan or the AC, the sensory organs, the mind is not functional because it is not accessing the memories in the mind given from by the body, intellect, or ahankara is not functioning because the I-ness is not there. The ego is not there. When this reflective face to face with the buddhi and the chitta is taking place, that is the time when it is called deep sleep, where you have say na kinchid avedisham, I knew nothing. But at the time of that, nobody can see, neither the buddhi nor the chitta nor the mind or anybody is active to say that I knew nothing. But on waking up, we say from a memory, yeah, I knew nothing. I know I went to sleep, but some dream I had, but I don't know how much time I slept. It can be during daytime. It necessarily need not be night. Or even there are sometimes, listening to some lectures in the college class or anything, you can hear some students snoring. Why? He went into a deep sleep at the time, right? So even though disturbances can be there outside, if the mind is not able to feed it to the intellect because the intellect is turned inward, that input from the mind is not taken at all. So that is no sensory input takes place. So sadi sambadhya na viduhu sadi sambadhyamahe. That time the intellect is not knowing that it is in unison with the very source of life in us. But when we wake up, we are back to the same old person whom we have been all the time. This is the 4 functions of the mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. I thought I'm clear enough.
Very clear, Mahodaya. Thank you so much. I've been documenting all your stuff, whatever you're saying.
Okay.
That makes it much clearer.
Okay, today we will take the first sloka. Actually, the book the PDF which I sent, the first 5 slokas I did not write it as slokas in the PDF. I'll correct it. But let us see the sloka here. Vamsi Bhagati, can you read the first sloka?
Yeah, 1 second, Mahodaya. Do you have it in the PDF? It's there in the PDF?
Yeah, it's there in the screen if you want to,
no, I'm just
displaying it.
Yeah, 1 second. The screen is smaller, so I'm just seeing if I can have it open.
Okay.
If not, I think it's there. No, 1 second, just hold on. No, I don't think it's not there in the PDF, I think, Mahodaya. Okay, anyway, I'll try doing it here. Shriharim Paramanandamupādeshtāra Ishwaram. I have to do this in Paramananda Upadeshtāram Ishwaram. I'm right or wrong, I don't know.
Okay.
Vyapakam.
I'll chant once, then you can follow that. You chant following me. Okay?
Yes, Mother.
Shriharim Paramanandam.
Shriharim Paramanandam
Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyapakam sarvalokanam Karanam tam namamyaham. Now chant yourself fully.
Shriharim Paramanandam Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Tam Namamyaham.
Can you do the Padacheda?
I'll try, Mahodaya. Shriharim Paramananda Upadeshtaramishwaram उपदेष्ट ईश्वरं तत्र उपदेष्टारम् ईश्वरं तत्र रेपः I'll do the next one. I'll just come to that. Vyapakam sarvalokanam karanam tam namami aham. The first one is Paramananda Paramanandam Sriharim Paramanandam Upadeshtara Mishwaram. There I am just
there are also Dvitiya only Upadeshtaram.
Oh, astu Upadeshtaram Ishwaram. Astu Mahodaya.
Okay. So Sriharim Paramanandam Upadeshtaram Ishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Tam Namamyaham Aham Namami Tam Aham Namami Tam Kam Sriharin Namam Tam Sriharin Aham Namami Yaha Paramanandam Upadeshtaram Ishwaram Sarvalokanam Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Cha. You understood that Padapchedan?
Sarva Visheshnani Santi
Srihari
is the Visheshan.
Sriharim is the what you call object.
Yes.
Aham is the karta, namami is the kriya, aham namami, tam ityukte kim Sriharim. Tam yaha Sriharim, tam Sriharim, Sriharim kidrisha Sriharim, tadrisha Sriharim, yaha sarvalokanam karanam apicha sarvaloka vyapakam sarvalokanam saha paramananda surupah asti saha upadeshtaram api asti saha ishwarah api asti. So
Mahodaya,
this is the
एकं वक्तुमिच्छामि तत्र अहं नमामि तत्र श्रीहरिम् इति तु कर्मपदम् अन्यानि अपि कर्मपदम् इव भवन्ति किन्तु तानि सर्वाणि विशेषणानि भवन्ति इन्क्लूडिङ्ग् परमानन्दम् उपदेष्टारम् अपि ईश्वरम्
सम्यक्
अपि च
tam Sriharim. Tam also is a Visheshana.
Tam namami. Sriharim अपि च तं श्रीहरिं तं परमानन्दं किन्तु श्रीहरिम् एव कर्मपदम् अन्यानि विशेषणानि भवन्ति.
Yes, that's right. अन्यानि विशेषणानि.
Okay, it's 1 hour. Do we stop or do you want that because the explanation?
Visheshnani is adjective.
Visheshnani, yes. Bahuvachanam. Because this sloka needs a lot of explanation. Each word is in itself like to take one class this sloka. So what we can do is I have done here. See, this is the format. If you can see the screen as I think, I have written here Sriharim Paramanandam Udeshtaram Ishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Tam Karanam Tam Namamyaham. First we have to do the Padacheda, then do an Anvaya, then each word, the literal meaning of the word, then the commentary. Okay, that is how it is to be saved up, or when you are a thing. Because the explanatory words are more, so you cannot write that where you have to write as a text. Now in this one, I will do the Padacheda and Anvaya and attach it as a PDF to the today's lectures. Okay, but I am not writing the meaning and explanation, which we will keep it for the next class. Astu? Is it okay?
That's fine. That's perfect.
Yeah, I'll do the Padacheda as well as Anvaya, and then attach this slide along with the I mean this slide only, that is what is required, because the others are just a prarthana only, right?
Yeah. Mahoday, I have another thing.
Yes.
Can I share this class details with some of my groups, Sanskrit groups I have? Is it okay for you, or like, I don't know?
I have no problem. If they want to attend,
Okay.
or you want to share, they can't go time, you can give them.
Okay.
The more
Sure.
people know about it, more it will be better, because there is nothing, my personal thing in it.
Yes. No. I do know that, but I just wanted your confirmation before I share your information to the groups, So
No
I
problem.
just wanted to.
Yeah, you can do that. And in fact, I have shared about 5-6 people who wanted to know what I am teaching, because they don't have time to come and attend the class, but because they have no knowledge of Sanskrit, but they definitely are interested in Advaita.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay. So
Mahodaya,
we
our
will,
class is only 1 hour? I thought it is 1.5 hours.
I was ready for 1.5 hours, but then from the
I think I'm sorry
other people have got limitation, because they are all either house duties, or people, especially Shobha from US and others have.
Take a vote. If everyone is okay with the 1.5 hour, that should be fine, Mahodaya.
But Bhagini, but I think this is a subject which needs a lot of introspection. I mean, I feel we should go it slow. That's what I think. So, because whatever Mahodaya has taught today, there's so many points which we need to introspect upon and read upon and to understand the concept. So, taking too much and not doing anything is also not right, is what I feel. That's my perception. So I would think it's 1 hour.
I agree with Pamshi on that aspect, because this is not a subject like grammar, where grammar also you need to study, or you do homework, but introspection is not there much in the grammar aspect. It is more of a technicality of usage.
Yes, whatever works for everyone. That is true. What she said is correct too, because this is a subject that's mainly understood by contemplation.
That's true. Okay, I've just written down a running notes when he was studying the class, and I just see so many points which I need to look on and read upon before I come for the next class. That's what I was just thinking. So.
Yes, Bhagini.
No issues. You can also share it with your people who are interested in this, on the audio file, or if you want the video file also, because I'm sharing both. So
okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, and if they have any questions also, let them ask you, or you can ask them to send an email also with a question, no problem. Or if they can be present in the class, I don't mind answering the question.
I really like I really liked your clear explanation of Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, because we don't get it anywhere. It's all mentioned that Mana Chatushtayam, but they don't clearly give us what exactly it is, That was really eye-opening for me. I really liked it. Thank you so much, Mahodaya.
Welcome. Dhanyawada, Bhagini. So, we will stop the class today for that. Any questions, Chandu Mahodaya? Abhishek?
No,
think about it, and then if you were next week class also. If you
not for now, Mahodaya. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Astu. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. धन्यवादः सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः
धन्यवादः महोदय
धन्यवादः महोदय
धन्यवादः
महोदय शुभरात्रि
शुभरात्रि